Hi guys, this is from the Sun newspaper in the UK, and this is about someone who's managed to join rats together and make a male rat give birth. So I'll read it to you. A vile study, Frankenstein Chinese scientists force male rats to give birth while conjoining them with female rodent in lab experiment. Now, why am I talking about this? Because this is a preparation for humans, it's a preparation for transhumanism. I keep going on about it. I'll read you some more. So these are the rats here, and these are them stuck together, sewn together. And this is how they've done it. They've done it incision, then they've done it at the elbow and the knee, and then they've stapled the two rats together. So I'm going to read you some stuff. First involved joining a male and female rat by attaching their skin and sharing their blood. Okay, and it's been called vile. Researchers said that the study showed that the mice born from the experiment went on to live into adulthood and did not suffer any health issues. I obviously take that to mean that they didn't suffer any psychological issues either. The rat psychologist obviously gave them the pass, whomever the rat psychologist is. I didn't know we had them. However, they also found some abnormal dead fetuses. Okay, so if you don't suffer by having abnormal dead fetuses, then that's obviously okay. In our research reveals the possibility of normal embryonic development in male mammalian animals, and it may have a profound impact on the research of reproductive biology. I take it to mean that they're not intending that biology to go to rats. I suspect that that's going to go to humans. I mean, you obviously do things on animals first as a safety measure for it then to be applied to humans. You don't do it to rats for the sake of rats unless you want to create rat cyborgs to take over the world. Here we are again. Scientists join a male and female rat by sewing their skin together. They implanted an uterus from another female rat into the male. Lovely. They implanted embryos into the rat. They left the embryos to develop for 21.5 days before performing a cesarean section. Obviously, a male giving birth out of his penis would be very, very painful. Anyway, so one of the doctors has said, is Emily McIver, described the study as vile. Good on her. In this vile study, after being castrated and forcibly conjoined to female rats, male rats were cut open and implanted with a uterus, and embryos were inserted into them. Obviously, being conjoined to a female rat is a terrible thing, and even worse, having your uterus being cut out and put into another rat is pretty bad. These shocking experiments are driven solely by curiosity and do nothing to further understanding of the human reproductive system. I disagree with you. I'm not a doctor. Sometimes I think that I know more than doctors, but I'm definitely not a doctor. I think that it's not to do with your understanding of the human reproductive system. It's there to create the human reproductive system in men, because as we're going into the woke culture, transhuman culture, and we're starting to make equality apparent between men and women, it might be a viable option for men in the future. So there's this great push for equality, and it's not equality, it's transhumanism camouflaged as equality. Equality is not about boys wanting to be girls and girls wanting to be boys. It isn't giving the same rights to boys and the same rights to girls. That's not equality. Boys have different abilities and needs. Girls have different abilities and needs. Girls need bigger bathrooms. Girls need toilets. Men don't need as many toilets. You can't give men the same size bathrooms as women when women's needs are different. It's like that's not really being equal, or maybe it is being equal, but it's being stupid equal. So equality these days has been stolen. Like girls, right? If you want to be the same as men and you want to show that you're strong, then go to the pub and drink as many pints as a man can and get drunk and do stupid things and smash someone over the head with a glass ashtray. The amount of cases of female violence against other people in the last 10 years or 20 years has skyrocketed. Before, this never used to happen. Women never used to go out and get drunk and be violent, take their stiletto off and start whacking people in the eye and blinding them. It's something relatively new that's happened. And with all the testosterone that's being decreased in men and all the estrogen which is being put in through the pill into the water system and all of this stuff that's happening, you would have thought that people are becoming more relaxed, so with less testosterone, but they're becoming worse. So what's happening is behavior modification. Women are being taught to behave like men. It has in the past been generally accepted. It hasn't been approved of, it's just been accepted that men are going to have lots of girlfriends and they're going to play the field. Now it's okay for women to go out and play the field more so than it was in the past. And so no one's looking at the white elephant in the room. No one's saying, oh, well, just a minute, hold on. Not that we should push women to be more like men in this type of behavior. Perhaps we should question the behavior at the start. Is it okay to drink copious amounts of alcohol and get into fights and not remember what you did last night and think it's bloody brilliant, and then to go around and sleep with lots of people and think that's fantastic? Is that what we want? We're not telling people to behave better. We're telling people to compete with badly behaved people because it has been in the past accepted by men. One of the biggest nightmares for women in modern times has been the productive system. Women go through a need to produce. It's built into their biology, it seems. I'm not a woman, but I'm just speaking from what I understand. And this causes a lot of problems in their life. It ruins their career, it holds them back. And then if the man leaves them, they become a prisoner to their family or to their children. So they have to take responsibility. And society's had to step in because it's had to go after the men to pay up to get some money out of them because they've been a bit irresponsible. So humans are going to become atomized. They're already becoming atomized. And there is a big attack on masculinity. What is it to be a man? Many in the world see masculinity as toxic, which is where this new notion of toxic masculinity has come from. Men are rapists. Boy men are rapists. Boy men are future rapists. Boy men are potential rapists. Boy men are going to become rapists. So there's this stupid, there's this idea that men are sort of stupid walking sperm banks that harass everybody and start wars. But at the same time, you can then attack women as well. And you can sort of atomize femininity, but you're not allowed to do that at the moment. In the past you were, but not now. So let's not talk about women getting pregnant on purpose because they want to imprison a man and keep him and want his money, because you're not allowed to say that. Or use their looks to seduce men. I mean, it's quite strange, isn't it, how rich men only seem to have beautiful wives. I just wonder if rich men automatically have a charismatic personality which overrides their ugliness. So it's quite strange, isn't it, that men can be attacked but you can't attack women. But there are things on both sides that need to be looked at. So the future of humans is to have a sexless human, neither male, neither female. And to get that to happen, you need to have a psychological war to wear down the different sexualities, to wear down the masculine sexuality, and then to promote negative parts of the feminine sexuality. So we need to have a war to pit the two sexualities together, get them to compete over who can get drunk the fastest and who can sleep with as many people as possible. Then you make them blame each other. You get young girls to hate cooking because, cooking is seen as an instrument in the past to imprison women in the kitchen for 14,000 years. And now the new rebellion is not to cook at all, which is now very risque. The bodies of male and female children have been attacked by adults. It's us to create magazines, it's us to photograph them, it's us to put them in the magazines. And with those pictures, presenting the male and the female body you create eating disorders. You create a want to implant modifications into a child's body. And they inherit this type of mentality. When little girls see fully breasted women, and that's all they see, they start to think that fully breasted women is normal. Just like vaginas in pornography, all of these women have the same perfect vaginas. And so that becomes the norm. And when the women or the girls look at their own vaginas, they get upset and they ask their parents at 14 to have operations to make their vaginas look like women in porn films. Then the boys also, they're having disorders as well, eating disorders, depression, and then boys want to get body modification, chop bits off their faces, implant things. And there's like these silly little things that they do in Japan where they have donut heads, where they start putting like syrup into the head to give them sort of a different type of look, which is, I don't know, I just find it a bit stupid really. But then again, who am I to say anything? And all this time, people are believed to believe in equality. Men and women are equal. There's not much difference between them. There might not be that much between them, genetically, but that tiny little bit of geneticness that is different does create a completely different type of person. Men are different from women, and you're not allowed to say that. You have to say that they're the same. They're not the same. They're completely different. Men are much stronger than women for a start, and they don't need bathrooms with lots of toilets. They can have a tree. So they're completely different. Trees make men very, very happy. Trees don't make women very happy, and that's quite a big thing. Like lettuce, a lettuce is 40% the same as a human, but we don't give lettuces any rights, do we? So within this equality, we don't want to have male and female toilets. We just want to have one toilet, so women don't want to go to the toilet in case they get raped, because they're told men always rape them. And then boys are treated, boys are brought up in pornography and objectify women, and so they want to peek at little girls. And so we've got a problem here. And then the transsexuals come in and stir everything up, because a boy has the automatic right to go into a girl's toilet because now they're a girl. So the children get confused and they get upset and they don't know what to do. And perhaps it's best if you change sex at the end of the day, but as long as you eat those Domino's pizzas, you'll be able to create the transhuman change quicker than anyone else with all those pheromones and chemicals in it. You can't have prizes anymore in sport. It's now a prize of inclusion, so it's not who's the best, it's now that everybody was there because we're all equal. Boys can now compete in girls sports because it's transhuman, and in the boxing and fighting matches they've given female competitors brain damage, but that doesn't matter. She's a girl, she's not a boy, even though she was born a boy, and now you don't have to tell the other person that they were born that way because it's discrimination. So this all makes sense at the end of the day for someone that's been drinking beer all their life on the weekend and mixing it with lots of marijuana. So what you do is you make girls fear boys, you make boys fear girls. So boys fear girls because, girls might steal all their money when they get pregnant, and then they've got to bring up the kids, and then the woman gets another boyfriend, but the woman has to keep paying money to the girl. And so, all this idea of like marriage and children seems to be a bigger headache than anything else. And the white boys will become white men, but white men enslaved the world in the past. And so there's the white guilt complex, but we're not allowed to talk about the Arab slave trade, which was much bigger than the white slave trade, because although it's a truth, it's not the truth that we want at this moment, because it's not helping the narrative. Of course, we're not allowed to talk about the black folk selling black folk as slaves to the white people, because that's even worse. I mean, if anyone knew about that, it would mean that the white people weren't as racist as everyone's claiming them to be. But we need to push the agenda that white people are racist, because once we topple the white people, we can start going after all the others. And then the young children are going to say that the humans destroyed the world and polluted it and took their future away from them, which is what Greta's saying. So really the worst thing to be in the future is going to be a white man. So what's the answer? The answer is to build another human, which is neither male nor female, to build a human 2.0, or to modify both sexes so they're equal. So you make a man more woman and you make a woman more man. Well, the best way to do that is to give man the option to have birth by cesarean, by the way, because if it's going to come out of one of his orifices, I can promise you it's going to be extremely painful, more so than a woman. But maybe the women would want that to get men to pay back all those hundreds of thousands thousands of years, women have had to go through the pain, so it's like a little bit of revenge. I don't know what's going on in anyone's mind, and so the new technology can do this. So you build wombs in men to make them feel what it was like to be a woman, what it was like to be a woman, because by that point there won't be any women. And as the attack on testosterone takes on the world, making the male an extinct species by 2050, that's correct, boys, there won't be any swimmers. We're just going to be empty test tubes in the future. There's going to be really no use for our reproductive organs. It will have to be generated in a laboratory. So if you do this to animals, you can do it to humans, because humans are animals. So this rat experiment is just basically a psychological preparation, not really a biological one, but because they've been able to do this, I would have thought, for some time. They did it with a monkey. They chopped the head off a monkey and they swapped the heads. I think it was done in Russia or America, I can't remember, but it got a lot of hatred, because you shouldn't treat animals like that. So humans are animals. We don't think we're animals because we have elevated consciousness. But if you create a much higher consciousness, as in human 2.0, then they're going to be much better than we are, because we judge consciousness by intelligence, and that's a very dangerous thing to do. We think that animals don't have consciousness because they're not as intelligent as us, even though we create atom bombs and destroy the world that we need to live on. But that doesn't count. So what's going to happen is if the human can do it to an animal, then a higher human can do it to us. And, it's happened before. The white supremacist Nazis did it to the Jews in the Second World War, and they made horrendous experiments on twins and little Jewish girls. Absolutely horrendous. So at the moment, we're building Human 2.0. Of course, the greats are there: Elon Musk, Bill Gates, yada, yada, yada. It'll have a superior brain capacity, helped with technology, or they'll build synthetic brains, or they'll build artificial brains, or they'll build biological brains, but they'll do something, And this isn't the first time, we've seen this happen. It's not just the humans being attacked. It's not just the animal being attacked. It's all animals, all human and plants. We've done it to fruit. We've put human genes into fruit to make them last longer in cold temperatures. We've done this to food with GMOs. We've done this to animals, as you can see. We've done this to humans. So the entire biological, ecological system is being tampered with in a perverted way. So why have they done this experiment? If we want to get back to it, why have they actually done this experiment? This experiment, if we can atomize the human so he no longer knows himself, we can make him weak so he can't fight, which we're doing. Make him docile so he is manipulatable. We're doing that through schools. Make him impressionable so what you say to him he believes. Well, we're doing that through social media, Facebook and television. All of these things are being done now so that when this harmonious agenda has an intention it wishes to place onto humanity, it can be carried out. And that is what is pushing transhumanism. I'm not saying transhumanism is bad. What I'm saying is that the intention that we have behind this particular branch of transhumanism is not good for humans at the moment.